Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Ink and Imagination, the Author Lounge. This is a place where I'm going to try to sit down with authors over different periods of time to talk about storytelling, writing craft, and ideas behind the stories that we love. I'm Shanon, writing on the pen name of SC Huston, and you're here on my YouTube channel where I run weekly writing sprints, talk about writing, fantasy, romance, and everything in between. And I'm also the founder and conference chair of the AuthorTube Writing Conference, now heading into its 5th year, with that date established as November 7th, when we'll do the next conference. Besides what I do here on YouTube, I am an epic romantasy author who loves writing about broken characters, brutal choices, and love that refuses to let go in worlds of dangerous magic, sharp edges, and the occasional dragon. And today I am joined by a wonderful guest author, and we're going to spend some time talking about the storytelling craft, playing a game, and having a little fun with the audience along the way. So I am joined by Kim Alexander. Well,
hello there.
Welcome to the show. Yes, welcome. Kim grew up in the wilds of Long Island, New York. Oh, wait, you said you had some time in. Oh, well, you do have this. It slowly drifted south until she reached Key West, because we were just talking about Florida before we started.
Talking about Florida.
Yeah. After spending 10 rum-soaked years as a DJ in the Keys, she moved to Washington, D.C., where she lives with 2 cats, an angry fish, and her extremely patient husband. So what's up with the angry fish?
He's a beta fish. We feed him regularly and keep his tank clean, so he's pretty calm now. But he has his moments.
Well, beta fish, they do tend to be more aggressive, so
they're a little aggressive, but he's very handsome.
Oh, welcome to the channel, Kim. You wanted to add anything else that I might have missed, or whatever it is you want to talk about to add?
Sure. Well, first of all, that introduction with the lore and the gods and that was very dramatic, very nice. I want to learn more about that. But I actually began my career as a DJ. I didn't begin as a writer. I mean, I've been writing since I was a little kid, writing in my little notebook like so many of us. But I began as a DJ because I didn't think writing was an actual job that you could have, like, even though I read every book in the library. And I think by the time I was 13, I'd written like 3, or at least, extremely overwrought novels that fortunately are lost to the mist of times and will never be seen. So I said, I drifted to Key West. I lived there for about 10 years. I spun the hits, drank a lot of rum, and then I moved north because I ran out of things to do in Key West. If you don't fish or drink, there's not a whole lot else to do down there. So I moved to Richmond, got a job as a traffic reporter, moved to DC, continued to work as a traffic reporter. See if this sounds familiar, DC people. There's a backup on the Beltway. See, that's evergreen. There's always a backup on the Beltway. And then I started working at Sirius XM Radio, where, again, I was a traffic reporter. And then I transitioned to book radio. I co-produced book radio, and my whole job was to read books and interview authors and go to Comic-Con and go to the Miami Book Fair. I mean, it was a dream job, and
yeah, sounds like
I would have spent my entire life in that job. But they made their decisions, and they took my channel off the air and asked me to clean up my desk. These things happen, and the severance check was delightful, so I have no hard feelings. So now I write full time. I came home and I said to my husband, well, I think I have to be a barista now because I have literally no other skills. And he said, what have you been doing for the last 30 or 40 years of your life? Right. So I sit at my desk. I look out my window at the National Zoo, which is right. You can't see it, but it's right there. That's my view. I wave at the pandas. They don't wave back. And I talk to my imaginary friends all day. That is what I do with myself these days. And that's me.
Yeah, I feel like we've been orbiting each other here, or I'm following you, because you're down Key West. I was in Miami. You've been to Richmond. I'm assuming Virginia, right? Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I lived in Newport
I lived there
News
for about a year.
Oh, okay. I lived there a little bit longer, but about 2.5 years. I think I lived, in Richmond, not Richmond, in Newport News. But I met and married my husband there, and his family's in Richmond, Virginia, so we'd go there quite often.
We go there all the time.
Yeah, I'm following you around. Don't even know it. So, all right,
but I've lived in DC since I think about 19. No, I lived in DC for about 20 years. Let's put it that way. I have no grasp of time anymore.
Yeah, no, I understand that. First it was Andy. Hello. And then I did put your website that's linked at the top of the chat. So if anyone's looking for that, there's also more links down below in the description box. And hi, Kim, and me, and Mars. Hello. Hi. Both my eyes deceive me. 2 beautiful women with red hair. Thanks, Andy.
It's a big day.
It's like hitting the jackpot twice. We're finding a 4-leaf clover. And hi, Keiko. Thank you guys so much for stopping in. Alrighty, so now we're going to move on to the storycraft part. And I kind of started this conversation behind the scenes with Kim, and I do have some questions I made, but I know that like I had a huge curiosity for how she did this because I read her book Pure, and it didn't end with the HEA or HFN, which is what a lot of romance readers are looking for. And so when I was taught, we had a long conversation about it. She told me about how it's developed over the course of the series. And I was like, oh, wait, in my head, I'm like, that's what I'm doing with my next setup, my next series. It does not end, my first book does not end with the HEA or HFN, but it's still going to be a romance because at the end, they're going to get together. So I was like, I was so curious about this. And so that's why I definitely want to bring you on. But just wanted to put that out there because I feel like I'm going to come up with other questions as you're talking, be like, whoa, what about this? But I'll start with the first one, which is that before we do delve into it, though, I guess what I should have done is said, if you could tell us a little bit about the series and how Pure, the first book, sets the stage for the story.
Well, Pure was born in the back of a cab with some friends. We were a writing group. We were in Chicago. We were going to a bar. It may not have been the first bar. And one of the members of my writing group said, we should retell fairy tales. That's, that the market for that is pretty hot right now. This was a number of years ago. Let's all go home when we're done with this trip to Chicago and retell fairy tales. And I don't know if they did follow up on it, but I thought about it a lot. And I was in a place where I was ready to start a new project. So I was like, well, what do I want to talk about? Sleeping Beauty, that's kind of gross. And then I realized that this has been sitting above my desk for probably since I was 12 years old. The Unicorn in Captivity. I got it at the Met in New York, which my mom took me to all the time. And I started to think about that. And what would that look like? What would a unicorn in today's society look like? I figured it was going to be a shifter story. Otherwise, I don't know how they'd communicate. So what would that look like? This perfect, immortal, beautiful creature. What would their captivity look like in today's society in DC? So that's what the premise of the story is. It's set in DC, at least that's where it begins, where fairy tale creatures are real and they live next door to you. And it's the story of a bartender who rescues the maiden, who rescues the unicorn. And in the course of the rescue, he accidentally kills one of his attackers. So he is no longer pure. Now he's a man.
The
unicorn now he's shifted into the body of a man, and he's stuck that way. And it's the story of how does he deal with that? How does she deal with him? Because she feels responsible for him. They're on the run. They go see her therapist. We meet her friends. Pure is a very short book, as you saw. But the rest of the books get progressively longer because I can't help myself. In the second book, I know. In the second book, the Fae get involved. And then they sort of weirdly hijack the series. But that's the premise of Pure. It's set in a world where mythological fairy tale creatures are real. They're rare, but they're real. And how they and the human community interact. That's the backbone of the series. That's the premise.
I had to say, I like that twist because, like you said, it starts with the bartender. The bartender sees a woman that she sees as a maiden is possibly in trouble. There's the unicorn. There's some thugs there. And then come to find out, well, no, the maiden was actually the bad guy and working with the thugs to try to get the unicorn.
They're essentially they're poachers.
Yeah, they're trying to poach the horn. So so I thought that was an interesting little twist, and I definitely appreciated that. But let's see, you got a comment. The Last Unicorn. I know. I thought of The Last Unicorn too.
Yeah, that book. I can't pick it. It's sitting right next to me. I can't pick it up because it will literally fall apart. That's how long I've had the paperback. That book is one of the most beautiful books I think ever written in English. And I actually got to interview Peter Beagle, the author, at an event, I think in San Diego, possibly San Francisco, which was a dream come true for me. And I'd gotten some very bad news, literally 5 minutes before this interview. And I told him, what was going on. And he was so kind. We did the interview. It was fine. But he was so kind to me and just as wonderful and lovely as the book, honestly.
Yeah.
That book is really important to me.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do a story like The Last Unicorn, and I always did think about too that I'd want to twist it just a bit, make it the unicorn male instead of female. But I haven't figured out a way to make it work for me over the years. And I figure it's going to happen one day because usually I think about things for a long time before I figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then Deshalay came in. Hello, hello. How's it going?
Hello.
So, all right. So without giving away any spoilers, what can you tell readers about the central relationship from Pure between, the unicorn and the main female character and the journey that these characters are on across the series?
So Ruby is a bartender and she's got a dark past. You know what her dark secret is. We won't give that away. But she's very closed down. She's very closed off. She's not interested in a relationship. She doesn't have a lot of friends. She just wants to tend bar and be left alone. So that changes on page 1 when she's coming home from work and she sees this unicorn in the form of a real unicorn, and he's being attacked by the maiden and these guys with a chainsaw and all. It's terrible. And she makes a decision that changes her life, that changes his life. And really, it has a ripple effect. It changes the lives of everybody that she comes in contact with. Now, as far as March is concerned, this has never happened to him before. He's always been able to shift right back. He's immortal. He drifts in and out of relationships with humans because humans are pretty and it's fun. He likes human music. It's physical and it's brief. He doesn't have the same frame of references and the same context that we have, and he experiences time differently than humans. So it was kind of tough for me to wrap my head around him as a character. It took me a while to get his voice. But then I started thinking about him as a detective of emotion. He's always trying to name these new emotions that he's feeling. Like, I'm feeling something. I need to do a little work. I need to dig a little bit and see what it is that I'm feeling. Is it good or bad? And what do I do with it? And what do I call it? He's starting to feel things. So he's trapped. This is his captivity. That's how it turned out to me, what the captivity looked like. Imagine going from something removed and pure and perfect to being like a hot mess of a guy. I mean, sure, he's gorgeous and he's lovely and sweet and he's a cinnamon roll and everybody who meets him loves him because that's part of his charm. But he doesn't know how to be a human, and that's why Ruby feels responsible for him. And in the course of their relationship, they become very important to each other. They eventually will fall in love. It ends on, I think, a hopeful note, if not necessarily a happily ever after. And they both have big journeys ahead of them. He's got to learn how to experience himself as a human, and she has to learn how to trust herself and to trust him. Long journeys ahead of them.
Yeah. So when you first wrote Pure, were you already envisioning like this being the whole series? Like, is that what you thought it would be?
Not really. I had just finished writing an epic fantasy series, 4-book epic fantasy series. They're all over 100,000 words each, which is a lot of words. Yeah. And my brains were soft. I was tired. And I wanted to see, in addition to doing this fairy tale thing, which I already sort of decided I was going to do, I wanted to write something short, first person, snappy, a lot of banter, contemporary, and fast paced, which is sort of the opposite of the epic fantasy series, which was very long. I mean, I love it and I think it's good work, but I wanted to write something very different. And at first I thought it was going to be a standalone and I'd get back to doing something else. I'm not sure what at this point, but I loved those characters and I loved all the side characters like Dr. Bell, her therapist, and Claudio the back, and especially Marley, her best friend Marley, who becomes a very important character. So I decided to leave it open-ended and then immediately started writing the March Effect. And once I really got into like the meat of Pure and I realized I maybe was onto something, that was when I decided that it was going to be a series. I did not know it was going to be a 6 or 7 book series, though. They just kept telling me they had more to do. Yeah. So the first short answer is no. The long answer is yes.
Adeshe says, what a fun way to get started writing a series. And the series sounds super interesting. The covers are great too.
Thank you. I'm very lucky. My artist is named Aurelia Frey, Pretty AF Studios in London. She's fantastic.
Nice. I'm glad I got notified about this interview. We'll be listening intently while cleaning. Sounds good. The stream is a bit buffing. Yeah, I think we might be slightly synced off. I think you and I were not synced together right now, but that's okay. We will do the best that we can.
We will press on.
Yeah.
Let the internet catch up.
So my next question, I feel like it may not be appropriate because my question was going to be what drew you to explore this kind of long arc storytelling in your work, but you didn't start off with that idea in mind. So, how did you decide? So, if you didn't have that in mind, and the first story ends with March and Ruby splitting up, they're not. It's not. They're still friends. They're good. They just have their own things that they're going to go do. If you didn't have this idea of a long arc storytelling in place, then what made you decide that you wanted to have this romance eventually come back together?
Well, I think it would be a misrepresentation on my part to say I'm a romance writer. I categorize myself as a fantasy writer who generally has romantic themes and important romances in my work. Because in life, as in fiction, romance is important. Love and sex are very important. It's a big part of life. And I knew I wanted to tell that story, and there was more story to tell. And I wanted to talk about Marley, and I wanted to talk about her relationships. But it's very hard for me to think in short terms and wrapping everything up neatly. My mind just doesn't work that way. So I just had to keep going. I mean, that's not a great answer, but that's the answer that I'm going to. That's the answer I'm going to give you right now.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Again, the next question would be good. Have romance readers often expect a happily ever after, or at least a happy for now at the end of the book, and Pure takes a different path? Because you had told me the relationship continues developing across the series. So what was your thought process behind that? And did it feel like a risk? Like, I don't know that it would feel like a risk. I'm feeling like that would not have been a risk to you, or not a risk you would have identified, because you feel that you weren't really writing a romance story. You were writing just a story about these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I tried to market this as a romance and a standalone romance, I would have gotten dragged, and rightly so. It's that is not what it is. It's part of a long romantic or paranormal romance, fairy tale romance, shifter romance series. And I'm hoping that the people who read it are interested enough in it to want to continue the story, despite the fact that it doesn't have that bow at the end of the first book. But I never intended to write a strict standalone romance. So it didn't seem like a risk to me because I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like, especially coming from your which, by the way, I followed you again, by the way, coming from a fantasy background. I wrote fantasy all my life. My first published trilogy is a fantasy, and then I switched over to romantasy.
Right.
So I just wrote 3 books, not 4, but there you go. But yeah, I felt like I was following you there again. But so coming from the fantasy perspective, especially if you were going into writing Pure from a fantasy background, if you're not really thinking, okay, this is going to be a romance, I can definitely see how that would have planned out. So when you were planning this story, what did you need to know before writing the first book?
Well, to me, character is absolutely key to everything I write. I need to know where they live, what they look like, even though I don't talk about what people look like very much in my books. I need to know. What do they love? What do they hate? What do they wear? Do they have any food allergies? Like Ruby is allergic to mushrooms and March is a vegetarian. And that goes hand in hand with world building to some degree. Mm-hmm. Excuse me as I change pages here. I have notes for myself. I didn't do very much world building in Pure in the first book because it takes place here in DC where I live. And they go to Chicago, and they go to the Shenandoahs, places that I've been. But in later books, they go to the Unseelie Court, and ultimately they go to the Seelie Court. And that is where I absolutely went nuts with world building. The great thing about going to places like that is no one can call you a liar. You can do whatever you want. Within reason. Like I have houses that turn to follow the sun. I mean, stuff like that. I love I absolutely love world building. That's one of the great pleasures. But that has to come after I know who the characters are. I need to have them in their place and hear their voice. That's really important. I need to know what they sound like when they talk. And that all came first. I knew Ruby really well before I started writing about her. March, as I said, was a little more difficult to start writing for because he's such an odd character. He doesn't think like a human, so it was a little hard to write for him. But I think once I figured out who they were, then I could start writing about them.
How'd you come up with his name, March?
March means either stallion or horse in one of the Welsh dialects. I spend a lot of time on names. I think names are super important.
Yeah, same.
So that's. Yeah.
I tend to like I like using like older languages and combining them, like using like Latin and Greek or Latin and Russian or something. Sometimes I'll just take different ones and put it together to create my own unique meaning. So
when I started writing full time, and my friends found out I was writing fantasy, they were like, "Make sure I can pronounce the names in my head." It's like, okay,
that's
no weird commas in the middle of the names.
Yeah. That only works for so much. Like I'm reading a fantasy, a romance series now that the fantasy is built on Slavic mythologies, and that's like like Welsh and Irish. Those what you see on the page is not how you say it. So yeah, so
you have to have a guide in the back in that case.
Yeah. She has a guide in the front of her book of how to pronounce everything, which is really helpful. But still, whenever you see like something with a W, I want to say woo, but it's not so. But yeah,
Slavic mythology is such a deep well. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, I find it very. I didn't know as much about it. Now I know a lot about Irish mythology because that's what I wrote was Irish mythology in my first trilogy. And I feel like there was some crossover with the Slavic mythology. Not a lot, but I recognize some of the names. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I like doing all the world building, finding out about all this stuff, and pulling that in. And yes, no one can tell you because when you write fiction, you lie for a living. So.
Correct.
But yeah. All right. So when you are carry across. Okay. Yeah. When you're writing a series like this, what craft elements do you find yourself thinking about the most on the page, whether that's dialogue, the way you use language, the way world building shapes the relationship between characters, or anything else?
I love that question. I'm so glad you asked that. Because I think the building blocks are so interesting. And when I talk to people about writing, like you have to learn the rules, right? You have to have the superstructure in place before you can start, bending the rules or breaking them and going off on your own. Dialogue for me personally is the easiest thing to write, maybe because I was on the radio for so long. I eavesdrop on everybody, and I always writing little bits of conversation down. I love writing dialogue. So learning the rules and then just throwing them out the window. That's where it begins for me. I love writing dialogue. My first drafts are usually just pages of dialogue, like people standing in a white empty room, just talking to each other. And then I do what I call decorating the Christmas tree, which is where you go back in and put all the sensory stuff in. What are they eating? What do they smell like? Color and fashion and everything that grounds the scene. But I let the characters and I just try to transcribe. I write down what they tell me, and then I build the plot around that. But character has to come first. So dialogue, character, plot comes last. If I could write without plot and just have them like at a party, just bitching at each other, and making snotty remarks, that would be my idea of a perfect scene. Unfortunately, not everybody feels that way. Plot has to come into it too, but plot comes last for me usually.
Yeah. I do the same thing. I dictate. And so my dictation is like, I'll say my character name, what they're saying, say the next character's talking, say their name, say what they're saying. And so my first drafts are mostly just dialogue. And then I call it layering. So I go and I layer in all the emotions and layer in the scene and, things like that. But
it's like so weird that we have so much in common.
I know. Right. It starts with the red hair.
I guess so.
All right. So what's one challenge authors might not expect when writing a romance that develops across multiple books?
Got to keep the spark alive. And that can be a challenge. Like you have to throw up obstacles between your love interests, but it has to feel organic and it has to move the plot forward. And how to keep that going from couple to couple can be very different. Ruby and March, they have to fight to be together. And I do make them physically separate occasionally. And I put a lot of barriers in their paths and they spend time apart. I have another very important couple who I'm not going to name because it would be too spoilery. They only work against outside forces. Once I got them together, that was it. They're ride or die. And they battle, not to remain together, but to remain safe, I guess you could say. And that felt right in both cases. So like I said, I just do what they tell me. I let them order me around. But you have to figure out how to keep that tension between the characters and not make them like an old boring married couple, unless that's what you're doing on purpose.
Righty, right.
Which I doubt.
I've had this conversation with a girlfriend. Her and I, we graduated with our masters in writing, and she started self-publishing several years ago. And every year she's like, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I'm like, I'm teaching right now. I don't have time to write and publish. But we just had this conversation not too long ago because she's in the middle of a series. She's getting ready to do her third book, and I edit her books and she edits my books. And her series is all on one couple. And so they get together by the end of the first book. And she's like, I'm having trouble with this. Like, they got together, they did their thing. And now, like, who's going to want to read about them doing their thing again? And so, like, she's like, how do I keep this? I'm like, I don't know, but I'll be facing that myself soon. So, but
yeah, you have to come up with reasons for them to want to be together.
Yeah.
And not just inertia.
Right. And I guess if you've got a plot that's happening, that could continuously throw up obstacles, whether emotional, physical, mentally, or mental, whatever. So that's the only thing I could think of is with some of those things. I'm just curious how people are doing it. I know when I'm typically, like, this book that I'm reading, I'm actually on the third book of the series. Obstacles were constantly put in place, and by the end of both books, the first two books, the love interests were not together because they got in a fight or something happened or something was revealed and they're not together. And so I was like, okay, that's very interesting. And then I remember reading another romantasy book in which you had the main couple and they're together, but then the second book they get separated, and then she gets with somebody else, then they get separated, she goes back to the original guy, and I'm like, oh, this is different ways of setting up a romance over a whole series with one couple. You're not the one couple, but just you're constant. You have the one couple that's together, not together, together, not together. Kind of. So
at one point, I was like, well, I'm going to try a love triangle. I'm going to try and put another character in there, and going to try and write a love triangle. And it was so contrived, and it felt so weird and artificial that actually it was weird and artificial became part of the plot.
Was that's in the series, or did you?
That's in the series. I'm not going to say where.
Okay.
You'll see. You'll find it.
I don't. It's been a minute since I've read your book, and it was like toward.
It's not in the first book.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't remember it being in the first book, but I felt like there was something. I can't remember what I was thinking because I read all the authors' books who came out last month, and I can't remember who was who, and I was remembering parts of it. But yeah, I don't know. I think wasn't there someone else that they came across who had known him, and they were together at one point or something.
Yeah, her therapist used to be his girlfriend. Yeah,
she's a goddess.
She's a goddess. We don't. Yeah, Ruby doesn't know that though.
It came back to me. So some of the stories.
I mean, he's been around. He's been around forever. He's known a lot of people. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. And, I don't have these in the questions, but I was also just thinking about this, I think yesterday, about the concept of time and having these immortal creatures. And the way I started thinking about it yesterday is because I was, it was a video or something I watched, like, if humans were immortal, what would happen with our memories? Because we don't have an infinite memory bank. It's a lot. We have a lot of room there for memories. But if we were immortal, there would be a time that we would just start dumping memories. And those memories would be gone forever because of what we're doing now. And I was like, how does this apply to, like, immortal creatures in our writing?
Yeah, well, that's. I had to think about that too. And March doesn't experience time like we do. He describes it to Ruby as the best way she can grasp it. It's like a book, and he can flip through to any page in the book, to any experience he's ever had, and almost literally be there. And where he is in time and what he's doing at any given moment becomes an important plot point in the next book, in the March effect. Because it turns out being mortal and pure has a big effect on him. He's going through some changes.
I was gonna say, I mean, if those memories all, like, start crowding his brain, like, would that have, like, a mental effect on him in some way? I don't know.
I mean, minor spoiler. I mean, it'll come out in the book. He sort of becomes a little unstuck, like he's not sure if what he's experiencing is actually what's happening or if he's remembering it.
Oh,
so that becomes a big problem. That becomes a big problem.
Almost like a deja vu effect in some ways.
Almost, yeah. So he gets very confused as to where he is occasionally. But that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, we'll leave it there, and I'll ask you one more question.
That's in book 2. Okay.
Looking back at the series, what part of the romantic arc between Ruby and March was the most satisfying for you to write?
In one of the later books, they have a big fight, and they say terrible things to each other, and a lot of truth comes to the surface. He's very angry at her for something that she doesn't think she actually is responsible for. And the fact that he's angry it's sort of a new thing for him, experiencing emotions as a human. So that makes him very confused. Like, why do I feel this passion, this anger, it hurts. I don't like it. And that makes him more angry and more confused. And she realizes that maybe she's been nice to him in the expense of being honest with him. So they come away with a new and deeper understanding and a more honest love for each other. It's just better than letting that stuff simmer. I'm sure you'll agree. As in life, it's sometimes you got to like just lay it all out there. And that scene was very, very cathartic to write because I mean they're characters, but it's like I was holding them back while I was writing them, and the three of us all got it worked out.
There's your love triangle.
Right, I'm the third. Turns out I'm the third person.
All righty. Well, we are going to move on to the fun and games portion, of which, we already have the author gets to choose the game they want to play. And Kim had already chosen this from last month, which is the villain, anti-hero, or love interest. So for this one, I'll describe a fantasy character concept, and we'll decide which role, we'd want that character to play. And we can have different ideas. But what role would you want that character to play in a fantasy romance story? So are they villain, morally gray anti-hero, or the love interest? And there are no wrong answers. And morally gray opinions are absolutely encouraged. If anyone is still hanging out in the chat, we'd love for you to play along with us. I know there's a bit of a delay, so I'll try to slow down between each of these. But let us know which role you would assign for each character as we go. So let me take off this banner here because I've got to get this added to the stage. I think the banner would be in the way. Yeah, the banner's in the way. Okay, so I have some of these. Say again.
Oh, nothing. Go on.
Oh, so I do have some of these character types I have in here are from like other books that I read from last month where the author also chose the same game, but I do have some on here that are for your books as well. So we'll see which ones we get. The Guardian of the Crooked Crown.
Huh.
I think anti-hero.
I was just about to say that because crooked implies something has gone wrong. Something is, broken. Guardian, however, implies something heroic.
Protection. Yeah.
Protection. Yeah. Morally gray anti-hero. Yeah. I think he's wearing a cape.
Got another Guardian one? The Guardian of a broken system.
Oh, that's a villain. That's a villain right there. In fact, they may be in Congress right now.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
Yeah, there's a villain.
Yeah, I agree. That would be a villain. Villain who thinks he's the hero, though. The one who fell first but hid it. Oh, there had to be a love interest.
It'd be interesting if that was it'd be interesting if that one was a villain.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Then you'd have like a whole redemption arc that you can work on. Like perhaps he or she realizes their villainy is counter to the person that they've suddenly fallen in love with who doesn't know it. And I'm thinking of Spike from Buffy at this point.
Oh, yes. We had a few vampire ones.
That's what I got.
Too. So it could be the anti-hero too, though, because if you think of like the trope of shadow daddies, could be an anti-hero. Yeah.
Okay.
The man who burned his wings for survival.
Okay. This is weird because in my epic fantasy series, my hero burns his wings for survival.
That might be because I did
That's
some research on your books and stuff, so that's why I was trying to get different archetypes.
It's late in the series, and forget you heard it if you intend to read it. But he was the hero.
I didn't even remember where I got
Not
it
even
from.
an anti-hero. He was just the hero.
Yeah, I did some of these a while ago.
No, he was my hero.
He was your hero.
Yeah. He's the hero of the book. He's the male main character of the Demon Door series. And I love him. I mean, I love all my children equally, but I think I love Rune, the hero of that series, possibly best of all. Don't tell the others.
I will. FYI, yay for the sticky notes in the background, scene ideas. I don't know.
Let me turn this a little bit so you can see them.
Oh, that's what he's talking about.
That's my murder. Yeah.
I have a bunch of story ideas.
They are chapters of the book that's currently with my editor.
Oh.
So if I have to rearrange them, I can do it like visually, which is a little more quickly for me. The murder board doesn't go up until the book is like 3/4 of the way done, because up until that point, I have no idea what's going on.
Did you say murder
I'm not an
board?
outliner.
Yeah, me neither.
The murder board, yeah, like with this string on it and
strings, yeah. The Crooked Crown, I know that place. Anti-hero.
I've been there.
Deshley, I think you might be a little bit behind, because I think our Crooked Crown was a couple ones ago. Or unless YouTube is really buffering everything, it might be. Sometimes when we're like watching the YouTube videos, it starts slowing it down from the live stream. So then you can like hit it to go double time so it can catch up. But yeah, I don't know why it does that. The mage who lets others take the blame. It's got to be a villain.
That sounds like a villain. That sounds like a villain.
Has to be.
I mean, it's conceptually, a person that would do that would be hard to write a redemption arc for, because that says cowardice.
As I say, it feels like a coward, and that's not what anyone wants for hero or heroess.
Yeah, or an anti-hero.
Anti-hero. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
Has to be villain. Look, I could say the unicorn, but I don't know what it says. The informant who plays every side.
I like that for the anti-hero.
Yeah, me too.
Those are interesting. Yeah, those are interesting cowards. Interesting characters to write, I think.
Yeah.
Not cowards. Yeah. Anti-hero.
One who let the villain win for a reason.
That could be the very self-sacrificing love interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I agree. The double who knows your secrets. I don't know what I meant by this. What's the double?
The double of yourself who knows your secrets?
Yes. That's all. I don't know. I don't know what I thought I was doing when I wrote this.
I don't know whether they would be good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, they wouldn't be the villain if they're your double and they know your secrets, unless you're the villain.
Oh,
did I just cast myself as the villain?
Yeah, I think you did. You're no longer in a love triangle. You're now the villain.
Oh no! Now I'm the villain. Oh no!
Burned wings have to be hero. See, he knows.
Yeah, they know. Uh-oh. There it goes.
A man who shouldn't exist under the law. That could actually mean so many
could be a villain.
Things.
Could be an anti-hero. Could be the one who plays both sides. Sounds similar to that. Living a shadowy existence.
Yeah, unless it's like he was once the child who wasn't supposed to have been born under the law that they have under, like, over the town or city or whatever. As I said, this could be taken so many different ways.
These are all very ambiguous.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Yep. I know I was tired when I was writing some of these. So. The one who judges others by rules they broke first.
That seems rather villainous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It feels like a villain, but it could also
unless they broke. Go ahead.
Like they broke laws and realized why they were bad, and now they're judging those because now they know what it means to break, what it means for people or whatever if they break the laws.
Like the Winter Soldier.
Yes. The one who saved you but ruined everything else.
I think that's pretty much the definition of anti-hero, isn't it?
I think so.
Kinda.
It could be a villain, though.
Love interest?
It could be a love interest, too.
I think
this could be either. This could be any of these.
It could be a villainous love interest.
That has anti-hero ways.
Right.
The dragon who would burn the organization down.
Now, are we talking like a dragon shifter or just a dragon?
Well, it had to.
And what's the organization? I have questions.
I do tend to write human loves. They can shift into animals, but when they're loving, they're humans.
Yeah.
I don't do like
monster. Yeah.
Well,
I don't either.
I'm also thinking of like what's the really popular like book series when I was younger? It was with the mouse of Redwall something. And all the characters are nice and things like that, animals. So yeah. I guess it would be a shifter. But then what organization? What was I thinking? I don't know. We can make
I need to know what the organization is because I could be totally in favor.
Depends on the organization. Right.
I can think of you right now.
Right. Yeah, we'll leave that one up to interpretation.
Absolutely.
The politician who legalized Xenos for profit.
That sounds like it came from my book.
Yeah.
Xenos in my series. Yeah, Xenos in my series. Xeno is Latin for stranger. And the fairy tale creatures in my series call themselves Xenos. So it's not a slur. That's what they call themselves. But certainly if you're legalizing hunting them for profit, you're a bad guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has to be a... Yeah, I was going to say, I remembered this term from, and when I read it in your book, I was like, it wasn't like a brand new term for me. I just looked it up. It is a Greek term for meaning stranger, guest, or alien, which I do a lot of research into names and what things mean in Greek and Latin and stuff like that. So I probably came across it. So when I saw it in your book, it wasn't like something brand new for me. I just didn't remember what it was.
Well, we all know the word xenophobia, so it's taken from that. That's where I first heard it, and the word Xeno kind of stuck in my brain as something I'd want to use one day, and I did.
Yeah, I think it was used in a good way for your book, anyways. Right? I like it. We're almost there. We almost hit the unicorn one. The woman everyone underestimates. This could be for all of them.
Could be any of the three. Yeah,
it could be. Yeah. I think probably better for either as the villain or the love interest than not the. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it could be any one of the three. That's my vote.
Okay. Keep skipping over all the unicorn ones. We have quite a couple from your book, but the barmaid who never missed a kill.
That's the hero.
Yeah, I'm thinking too. Hero.
We need a fourth category.
What would be the fourth category?
It would be the fourth category. Hero.
Oh, hero.
Or heroine.
Oh, yeah. Well, in this case, it could be love interest because it could be the hero love interest.
Okay. The judges will accept it.
I just want one unicorn one. The guide who never leaves the forest.
Ooh, that's a love interest.
Yeah.
I just got a warm, glowy feeling just from the description.
Yeah, me too. I was
That's
just
a
like,
person I want to meet.
It's a story I want to write. The demi-goddess who thinks humans are pets. Has to be a villain.
Has to be a villain.
Yeah.
Humans shouldn't be pets. My pets aren't even pets.
Right. The one who only loves you in one form. I think I made this
That's
one
a
from
villain.
your book. I was thinking about
that's
this
a
one
villain.
from your book. But yeah.
You got to be willing to accept them in whatever shape they come in.
Yeah. Morally gray anti-hero? I don't know how you'd make that work, though.
Not either.
The one who calls themselves a monster first. I think the
I like
anti-hero
that for
or
an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's do one more.
I appreciate a character with a little self-loathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That reminds me of one of my characters in book 2, actually.
Oh, okay. Like a lot of my characters have traumatic backgrounds, and some of them have some self-loathing. So that's quite a common theme in my books.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do one more.
Yeah,
Maybe
working
we'll get
through that is very interesting. Okay, crossing fingers.
So I made some unicorn ones here, but I keep seeing them.
I believe you.
No. Dang. The immortal bound by an oath he regrets. I'd have to say the anti-hero.
Either anti-hero or love interest or villain, depending on what the oath is.
Yeah, true. Could be a villain. Yeah. All right. Well,
I wasn't sure what to expect when you told me what that game was.
Yeah.
I didn't know how you were gonna, but that was very thought provoking. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I liked it. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it actually when I first made the game. I was like, how am I going to actually do this? And I thought about it for a while, and I had come up with a different idea for it. And I thought, that doesn't feel right. And then I remembered this is the Wheel of Names is the name of that site. So I used it for quite a few things, and it worked out great. So yeah. All righty. Well, that was a lot of fun, and before we're going to wrap up everything, I want to do a quick rapid fire author round. This is just a fun way to get to know you a little bit better. So I'm going to ask a series of quick questions. The goal is to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind, and it's to answer quickly if you can. Questions cover everything from writing habits to favorite tropes. Actually, I don't think I have all that in there, but to a few fun personal preferences. The questions are a surprise. So Kim hasn't seen any of these questions ahead of time.
I haven't seen these.
No. Of course, there are no wrong answers, so we'll move through them pretty quickly. If a question does stump you and you're like, I don't know, you could just say pass, and we'll just go on to the next one. Then all right. For those in the chat, if you guys want to answer along, feel free to share your answers as well. I don't have a lot of these. I think there's 12 or 13 of them. So, all right. What comes first for you? And I think I know the answer, but what comes first for you? The characters, the setting, or the plot?
The characters, definitely.
Morning writer or night writer?
Night. I'm definitely not a morning person at all.
There we do not have the same thing in common because I'm a morning person.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Yep. Coffee, tea, hot cocoa, energy drink, or something else?
Bourbon. Coffee in the morning, bourbon at night.
There you go. And you're doing the bourbon while you're writing because you write at night.
No. No, I can barely focus when I'm sober. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I feel like I know your answer for this one too, but planner, pantser, or plantser?
I'm definitely a plantser. I start out with the characters and an idea and a dream, and then 3/4 of the way through, I'm usually like, I don't know who's doing what to whom or where anybody is, and that's when that happens.
You get those.
So plantser, I guess. Yeah.
Slow burn or instant attraction?
Both. I have written both my other series, the Demon Door series, very, 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 very slow burn. March and Ruby are instantly attracted to each other. They takes a little time before they act on it, but I think there's value and truth in both, and I think both can be employed successfully.
I agree with that too.
Sorry, I don't have a better answer.
No, it's okay. No, I agree the same way. I think most all of mine are slow burn, but I think it all starts with instant attraction. Then it's based on character, who they are as characters, whether or not they act on it right away or it's a slow burn. So, all right, enemies to lovers or friends to lovers?
Gosh, enemies to lovers is so fun.
Yes.
Yeah, enemies to lovers,
Yep,
or at least annoying each other to lovers.
Right. All right, favorite romance trope?
I'm really of two minds about tropes. They make things a lot easier for readers because it's like going to the restaurant and picking something off the menu. But I think it's kind of limiting for writers. So I'm going to take a pass on that one. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about tropes.
Hardest scene you've ever written?
The first sex scene I ever wrote was it was so hard, so to speak. It was like so cringy and difficult and weird. But I had to remember that, these are just two people and we know them already. We know them really, like I said, it was a slow burn. We know them really well and we know how they would react to each other and what they would say and what they would do. And after forcing myself to do it, I think it's one of the best scenes I've ever written. I'm very proud of it. Aww. And that can be found in The Sand Prince, which is the first book of my other series.
Okay.
It takes a long time to get there, but I think it was worth the trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was hard to do.
I thought it would be hard to do. Like when I first switched over to Romantasy, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do on the page sex scenes or not, because in my fantasy it was all closed door. And romance was just often not even part of the stories. If it was, then it was closed door stuff. So, but I took a Greek myth and I rewrote it into contemporary times and added the sex scene. I thought, oh, that was pretty easy. And I'll never share that with anybody, but I have it still. and so I thought it was going to be really hard. I really did think it was going to be hard. But yeah.
I just had to get over myself.
Yeah. If your characters are stuck in an elevator, who panics first?
I assume we're talking about Ruby and March right now, right?
It can be, yeah.
You've been talking about them the most. Stuck in an elevator. March knows what an elevator is, although he spent most of his time in the body of a unicorn out in the woods. But probably, and I'm going to say March because he's panicked. He's a terrible person to be in the car with. He hates being in the car. He's terrified of the other cars, which he got from me because I'm the most anxious driver on the face of the earth. So I think he would be equally distressed if the elevator stopped working.
From what I can remember, I would have said March as well. So, which character would survive a zombie apocalypse?
Well, March is more immortal, but Ruby's very industrious and she does work at a bar.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Ruby.
If your romance arc, so we'll say the one with March and Ruby, was a weather forecast, what would it be?
Stormy.
Stormy. I like that.
With a chance of rainbows at the end?
Yeah. Favorite way to celebrate finishing a book?
We usually we go out to dinner, have a nice dinner, a little champagne. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's a huge accomplishment, and those of us who do it, we should celebrate ourselves, and we should say, go me, I did it. It's a hard thing to do, and we did it. So yeah, it's worth celebrating. But we usually go out to dinner.
Nice. Okay, last one. If you could write in any other genre, what would it be?
I wish I could write like hard science fiction. This is a golden age of women writing fantastic, like the Murderbot Diaries. I don't have the math, I don't have the science background, but I think that would be a great field to write in. And I just love that there's so many women doing it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I like writing. I have some science fiction pieces, but I always go soft because I'm like, I'm not the nitty gritty of this because I don't have that background. I mean, I do use some things one in which I have it's after like a apocalypse basically, and people live in domes, and I call them Tesla domes because in his research, Tesla said that if we vibrate it at the right rate, we could live forever. And so the idea was trying to make people live forever within the domes. And so there's vibrations and things like that. But they ended up not being able to do it except for the small piece of area that if you continuously stayed on it, then you'd stay young forever. And so then everybody started thinking that they were robots. Over time, they forgot they were real people. They just thought they were robots.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah. So
did you finish it?
Yeah. It's that I wrote it back in 2013, I think. But I don't publish in science fiction, so I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day. But yeah.
It sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, okay. Well, I forgot to take the banner off. I was supposed to put this one up there, rapid fire author round, but that's okay. Oh, well, that does bring us to the end. But before we wrap up, can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on next?
So it's kind of a weird story. Right after New Year's Eve, I got the flu, right? The flu. Went to the hospital. I was super sick. I'm totally fine, completely recovered. But while I was sick, dead sick, I got this idea for a new story. It just exploded into my head. Now, normally I'm a slow writer. It takes me about a year to write a book. I wrote like 4,000 words in 2 days, which is unheard of. It's about a young woman who wakes up in a snowbank on a strange world with no stars and 2 moons, and it's always night. And she has no memory, and she doesn't even remember her name. She meets 2 lovely women who feed their enemies to the wolves. And of course, hot sword guy is in there too. And I just I can't stop writing it. In fact, I'm almost done with it. It's going to be another short book, like Pure, probably between 30 and 50,000 words. I've never written anything this fast before. But now that I'm almost done with it, I have to decide where to publish it, what to do with it. I think it's going to be called The Bitter Season.
So,
like I also said, fantasy.
Okay.
Portal fantasy, I guess you'd call it. And there's some romance and open door, one very big open door scene in it. But yeah, I have to decide what to do with it now that I'm done with it. And like I said, book 6 over here behind me. I think book 6 is going to be called The Stone in the River. And that is the first time that announcement has been made. The title of the book probably is going to be The Stone in the River. You all heard it here on your show. And it is in the delicate, graceful hands of my editor, Carly. And it's so long, it might be book 6 and 7. I will know. As soon as I know, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay. Well, before we end the show, please tell everyone where they can find you and purchase your books. And I did drop some links into the chat. Your website's pinned at the top. We've got Instagram, and we've got your books to read link for all the books. And then Aphrodite came in. Hello, Aphrodite. So,
hi. I also wanted to mention that I mentioned I have a long background career in broadcasting, and I've narrated all my own books, and those are available on my website. And everything. I think you're going to see more and more authors with having their own bookstores. So my website is my bookstore. All of my books and my audio books, Pure, this one here, they're all there. And that's the best place to find my work, I think, is my website.
On the website. Okay. Awesome. We got that one pinned at the top. Well, thank you so much for joining me today for Ink and Imagination. And it's been wonderful talking with you.
I catch you.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for the links. Can't wait to check them out. Yay. All right. Well, that will bring us in. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today. And that will do it. Bye, all.